So I tried Lucky Luciano's tier 100 poison rogue build, and I thought it would go like this. But instead, it went like this.
You're a monkey, Garrick! You're a monkey! Dance, monkey! In your little spangly shoes! Dance, Garrick, dance!
So today we're going to jump into another dungeon. We're going to level some glyphs. The glyphs are very low, missing a lot of damage there, probably some survivability as well. But if we are going to, let me put a trap down. Let me find a group here. If we're going to level glyphs, might as well run some dungeons. I don't know if we're actually going to make it to 100 or not. But we're going to try it. We're going to play. We're going to have fun. And then at some point, we're going to switch gears, considering we are, at this point, halfway through the season. Man, that went by really fast. I need to find more time to play. So this build actually has a lot of potential. Lots of damage, especially with the lucky hits. And then the poison. You can see the poison just melts them, absolutely melts them, which has been incredible. Even with some of my glyphs that are only level 2 and level 4, the thing's going to pop again. You can usually hear it before it pops. It gives you like that little warning, and then it pops up. So where is it? Where's the dome? Let's go ahead and grab this. We're going to move on till the dome comes up, and then we're going to jump into the dome. At 61 is not super high, but it's high enough where you got to stay in the dome. Some of them I survived. I've tried tanking a few. Some of them went well. Actually, you know what? Let's see if I can we jump up here? I was able to see them, and then he disappeared. One of the things I was wondering is if we... Hold on a second. Everyone, please hold. I was looking at the map, and all of a sudden I'm almost dead. I was wondering if I could jump up there. There it goes. I could see him kind of, but then he disappeared. So we can jump floors, which is really nice. Let's jump in here. And then we're going to come back. Usually, there is a warning that tells you... I got totally feared. Usually, there's a warning that tells you it'll do a... there's a sound that procs before the actual dome comes up. Twice, actually. Once, like 5 seconds before to let you know. I'm not sure if that's something that's meant, but that's something that I noticed. So, we're going to be listening for that. And so this build right now, you could see when the double damage procs on the poison, there's a 10% chance, and when it procs, it's awesome. That is off the Bane Glyph. I got just enough requirements to get that that bonus, just enough. So right now we're going to continue running some more dungeons. So this build is actually very, very strong. I tried it out. Even with lower level glyphs, it's very, very strong. Right now, I need better gear for me to be able to run higher dungeons, much higher dungeons like the content creators that do this for a living. I need better gear and better stats. This game is all about stats. It's all about gear. Let's jump in here. And sometimes getting the right stats takes a while. So before I can run 100s, I definitely need to get better stats. Okay, where is this guy? But I feel like I'm doing okay. This is a little bit lower because 3 of my glyphs, 2 of my glyphs are level 2 and 4. The Bane Glyph is level 15. So yeah, before I push higher, I definitely need to level those. That's going to take time. Everything in this game takes time. A little bit longer than I like, but that's probably because I don't have a ton of time to play. The previous build I was actually running was a stun grenade rogue, which worked out nice. Is this not the room? This is not the room. There's one guy left, unless I missed something. One guy left. Somewhere. There he is. So the previous build I was running was a stun freeze grenade rogue, which has worked out very nice. Maxed out at tier 68. Came across a dungeon with a lot of, probably just a bad combination, honestly. A lot of ranged, and then they also reduce armor. They just melt me. So 68 is where I maxed out. Went in, died a few times. Some rooms are okay. Some rooms are awful. Probably could have... I wonder if I'm going to die here. Because the thing is so... Yeah, it's so far away. Where did it proc? Back here. That was so strange. So I went around the corner, dashed in. I was just about into this room, and it procced right as I was going in the room. And at that point, it's like, where is it? So, that was the thing. Anyways, so the last build I was running was pretty good. I really enjoyed the freeze rogue grenade build. Probably could have pushed it a little higher. Right now, we're going to try this. Tried and true. Poison's actually very good. The last build actually did really well with large groups of enemies because it kept them stunned. Not a ton of damage, At least not from what I was running. Some of the aspects, especially later on. Let me back up a little. Where the heck is this thing? It just pops up out of range, out of sight. I wanted to back up as well because look at this guy. I want to back up as well because none of my everything was on cooldown. Couldn't poison anybody. So if you're not if poison is on cooldown, trap is on cooldown, you're not really doing any damage. So on the last build, I was looking for grenades that deal 1,000 damage. That of course is on the high end. You can see I'm doing no damage because everything's on cooldown. And if I got that, that would have been perfect. But however, my grenades were doing almost no damage. They were primarily just there for the stun. So a lot of times it's just farming those end game items, getting the max rolls to make a build very good. Okay, we need the mechanical pedestal. Is this actually open? This thing is actually open. Oh wow, that's interesting. Where the heck? It just like pops up randomly out of sight. Can't see it. What's going on here? I'm gonna get feared. I don't want to die. Let's dash out of that. Poison trap. Let's get that taunt going. That should help. I don't want to get stunned, so we're gonna dash, get a little bit of poison going. Yeah, just slow and steady. Rinse and repeat. The obelisk hurt really bad. Bad combination with the dome as well. So we have to pick and choose. Do we want to eat the lightning from the obelisk or do we want to eat the lightning from the dome? Oh, there's a heart right there that dropped. Let's get that. So right now, I'm really liking this poison build. It's a little bit RNG heavy. Sometimes the double poisons proc, and you could see the poison stacks their whole life, engulfs like 2/3 of their life. And that works out really nice. When it doesn't proc or when things are on cooldown, you're just not doing any damage. By the way, we also freeze as well, so that works out very, very nicely. That's coming from the heart in the necklace, +3 to all imbuement ranks, which is nice. I'm just going to leave this guy. He's irritating me because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. All right, trap goes down. So the trap right now is only rank 1. The imbuement is 8 out of 5, which is pretty good. I am missing a helmet. Right now, I'm wearing the helmet from the last build. And that has +4 ranks to shadow imbuement. I honestly don't even want to be in this room. I need a helmet with some poison imbuement. That I think would be a lot more beneficial. So for right now, I'm not going to be pushing anything higher than where I am. Maybe 65. We're going to max out there. The glyphs, I have 3 glyphs, 2 glyphs. One's level 2, one's level 4. The Bane glyph is level 15, so that one is usable, but I feel like I need to probably bring the other 2 to at least 15. So the glyphs are very low. So when I originally respect, I respect too early. Respect too early, and I was doing no damage. Here it is. This thing's so irritating. I feel like they've toned it down. It used to proc a lot faster, at least maybe that's my experience, and it doesn't. Whoa, hey now, let's I got stunned. I was trying to get out of that. Let's get out of that. Pop a potion just in case. Put a poison trap down. That'll taunt. The taunt is very, very important. Keeps us alive. Okay, now that that's done, put another trap down. That resets, actually. One of the things I talented into was the reset of the imbuement on the trap, which is very, very nice. I've been really liking running that. Plus the lucky hit. I'm still working on getting some better gear. As a matter of fact, where is it? I just put it in my stash. This is okay. This is okay. 3 ranks to poison trap could be good. Let's not die. I did just get another necklace, which is going to help out. Got some poison damage on it. Got some speed on it. It's actually a ring, excuse me. It's a ring. Got a nice ring with a bunch of good stats. So few and far between. But this game is all about running lots and lots of dungeons to try and get the good stats. Let's jump in here. Let's jump in here. Get this. Kill these guys. Avoid the lightning from the dome. And then as soon as more enemies pop up, the priority are the clerics. Clerics, put a taunt down. I don't want to die. I know in the beginning, look at all this madness. In the beginning, there's so much that happens. You have to really, really be on top of the game. And then, of course, with all the clerics healing, look at him. Ooh, that's spicy. Why can't I not pop potions? Wow, I hit the potion button 4 times. Are you kidding? Look at all the clerics just healing everybody. That is absolutely insane. So going back into the room, I'm actually surprised. I really, really hate this dungeon. Starting to really hate this dungeon. Everything just kind of goes from bad to worse here. Starts off good, and with all of the knights constantly stunning, and then the clerics healing them, it's almost like you have to get to the clerics. But in order for you to get to the clerics, you gotta go for the knights, and the knights just stun back to back, especially when they stun back to back. So if you notice, that went extremely smooth, right? This actually went extremely smooth. The last time it went really, really bad. And I've noticed that over and over again, many times when I run this, it just goes really, really bad the first time around. And then when I potion, wow, potion, popped 3 potions there, and the first one did nothing. And I've noticed the first time when the mobs drop, they do a ton of damage. And it goes really bad. And then the second time when I respawn them, it feels like it's a lot easier. So I'm not sure if anybody else has noticed this, but we are leveling the glyphs. Let's go ahead and kill him, pop a potion. There we go. So that felt fairly easy. We did get nothing really too... Yeah, okay. Nothing really too good. Couple of thorns items. Nice level 800 bow. So right now, I am working on some glyphs. You could see I have a level 4 and I have a level 2. The 3 of the other ones are level 21 for this build. And then Bane is level 15. That is where all of our poison damage comes from. Right now, I want to work on Tracker because for every 5 intelligence purchased within range, we deal 2.4% damage to poison targets, and the effects last longer, which means they do more damage. So if we can get this number higher, we can start doing a lot more poison damage. And, oh, look at this. This is beautiful. This is a beautiful thing. And, of course, with all the puddles, this took me a little while to get. Where is it? Now, critical strikes with poison immune skills have a 10% chance to create a toxic cloud for 8,000 poisoning damage. This is really, really good. While standing in the pool of your poison imbuement, skills have no cooldown and no charge limit. That is huge because we are affecting lots of enemies. That means we get a lot more poison imbuments, thus more damage. Jumping into a T66 on the old freeze grenade stun rogue. This actually went fairly smooth. The grenades do a lot of damage. As I mentioned previously, this game, you can see everything just absolutely blowing up. As I mentioned previously, this was actually a really, really fun run right before I switched to the poison grenade rogue. One of my favorite runs was just went smooth, felt good. One of the things about this game is farming gear. Not only farming gear, but also farming the right stats and the right rolls. The combination of the right stats that you need on a piece of gear. And it takes time. And so even though the grenades drop everywhere, even though they do lots of damage and they stun enemies, the rolls I was getting are still a little bit lower because I've seen rolls that were over 1,000. I believe it was 1,000 damage per grenade. I am nowhere near that. But I'll post it during the editing. But that is one of the things that I am looking forward to getting. So a lot of times it's just spamming these dungeons and looking for absolute max rolls to make this thing efficient. Now the damage output is there, especially in large crowds. And sometimes it's a lot easier to just actually play, record, and then do a voiceover. This was really, really good. I kind of had a lot of fun with this. Really enjoying the Poison Rogue. However, the glyphs are very low for me, so I definitely respect way too early, but I just needed a little bit of a change. Got tired of just blowing stuff up. Got a little bit tired. Wanted to try something new, so I'm doing a Poison Rogue right now with the Poison Puddles, which the damage is definitely very good. One of the challenges I've noticed switching from the Stun Freeze Grenade Rogue to the Poison Rogue is on the previous build, I definitely struggled a lot with bosses, right? Killing bosses took a long time because they're not affected by freezes. They're not, I don't believe they're affected by crowd control effects. So even though the enemies, like the regular mobs and the elites, get blown up and they get frozen, it took me a while to actually kill a boss. With the Poison Rogue build, the poisons actually, especially when they do double damage with the Bane Glyph, they actually do so much damage and they stack really, really fast on the boss that the bosses just go down really quickly. So I'm really happy I made that change. However, leveling all those glyphs takes time, especially to max level. So going back to the Poison Rogue, my first priority is to get all of my glyphs to level 15. At least I can get the max radius size, get that bonus as well. And then once that's functioning well, I got totally feared, you could see there. Once that's functioning really, really well, then we can start climbing higher. But the season's half over, so after we're going to run the rogue a little bit, after we level some glyphs, we're going to switch gears. Maybe play a little bit of druid, maybe play a little bit of sorceress. Not really sure yet. We're going to change some gears and do something else. So one of the things I really like about this rogue is he's fast, got lots of mobility, and the grenades freeze. Now, there are some things that I still needed, as I mentioned, like the grenades. Much better, higher rolls on the grenade damage for sure, because when I was originally running this, it was very low, and it was only primarily stunning the enemies. It wasn't doing much damage at all. So that is the first thing I need to improve on. The second thing I need to improve on is a little bit more armor. Running a little bit, need more damage reduction, especially from ranged. I noticed range just absolutely melts when I run these dungeons. Or the ranged mobs actually melt my character when I run these dungeons. So I probably need more ranged damage reduction. Other than that, there's a couple of things. There's also an aspect to receive 30% less damage from crowd control enemies. That can be a thing. However, shoveling the aspects around a little bit takes a little bit of time because I don't always have everything I need, especially with the higher rolls that I need. So the name of the game is spamming dungeons, farming more aspects, and with limited time to play, it goes a little bit slower than I'd like, but we're still doing good. Right now, this is a Nightmare Dungeon 66. You could see it's going fairly well. I ran a 68. I got a bad combination of all ranged enemies, armor reducing as well. So that went fairly bad. Armor just completely melted. Like to probably get a little bit tankier. I enjoy much tankier classes, but I do miss the run speed when I play other classes because this rogue is awesome. Right now, one of the things I'm working on, since I've been respeccing so much, one of the things I'm actually working on is grabbing as much gold as I can, grabbing all the gear, selling all this stuff to get as much gold as I can because I've been experimenting. And if you've seen any of my other videos, I made a really tanky rogue with over 16,000 hit points, including the automatically generated barrier from the Pants of Temerity. That was really cool, really fun running an extremely tanky rogue where you can pretty much stand in anything, you know, within reason. Anything under tier 50 and lower, you could stand in anything. Tier 55 and higher, you do have to be smarter. So I like running tanky characters, but I do miss the run speed of this rogue. The rogue has really good run speed, really good mobility, and when I play other classes that are a lot slower, it just feels really, really bad. So this run is going fairly well, and I actually, since it was going slower, I actually decided just to leave them. I don't need to be in that room, don't need to clear them. Trying to maximize my time the most I can because sometimes they're just, if they're not going down, sometimes it's just not worth fighting them, especially when they're freezing you every chance. In a small room, you're getting frozen, plus the shade. The shade drives me absolutely insane, so you have to stay mobile. One of my biggest irritations with that night shade, you can see how frequent it comes out. One of the biggest irritations is that when you get silenced, when you stand in the puddle, you just can't do anything. And when you are body blocked and skills are on cooldown, you can't dash out and you can't use your basic skills, so it's very, very irritating. But with that said, I feel like this run went very well. I wanted to do a voiceover. Sometimes I just hit the record when I'm just waking up or if I'm just drinking coffee, vibing to some music. Of course, I don't want to get copyright strike, so the music is off. But sometimes I record when I'm vibing to some music and things go well. I find a groove, and then I do a voiceover after. Not to mention, it's a lot easier to voiceover. So I want to try to keep this entertaining for you and keep it as fun as we can, right? So we're going to continue running. I do have the smoke grenade on the helmet, so when we dash, we drop a smoke grenade. Enemies take 20% extra damage. You can see it there. It dazes them all, stuns them all as well. So this is a really, really fun build. The only thing it struggles with is bosses, right? I struggle a little bit with bosses, probably because I never made it to, I believe I was 11 Paragon points short of the vulnerability when you hit a vulnerable target. Hey, look, we found a butcher. When you hit a vulnerable target, they take increased damage up to 15%. So right now I have the choice to make. We have a choice to make. Do we play around with the mobs? Do we keep playing around with the Butcher since he's bullying us around? Or do we just leave him alone and continue? You could see he almost got us right there. So let's run around trying to dodge. Look at all of the craziness that's going on. Not that way. That's a dead end. So one of the things you can, by the way, you can actually dodge the Butcher. You can just run away, and if you put enough distance between you and him, he'll just disappear. And I really didn't feel like playing with him, especially with all the mobs there, especially trying to maximize my time to get the most gold. And to be honest with you, level some glyphs. So I didn't want to play with him because I don't have that extra vulnerability. One of the things that I want to try is not only to put my Paragon points into that extra vulnerability earlier to help me take down the bosses, right? So 1% chance, extra damage to vulnerable targets for up to 15% chance. But I also want to see if this will work with some kind of a hybrid poison build. So a frozen hybrid poison build where we not only freeze everybody, but we also use the poisons. We also spread the poisons. So while they're frozen, while they're chilled and frozen, they are also poisoned. Maybe back off on the grenades just a little bit. Talent, maybe a little bit more into poison. Max out the Bane Glyph. I think that's going to work out nice. And then we'll back off a little bit on the dropped grenades. So we won't be stunning them as much or as frequent. But with the extra poisons, I think it's going to work out nice. And the extra poison damage should help with bosses. Speaking of bosses, you can tell how slow this goes. Because we're not poisoning him, it does go a little bit slower. Still fine. Still have enough damage going around, especially with the grenades. But it does go a little bit slower, so it does take some time. And then, of course, we have to dodge the shade that's coming out. Once we stagger him, he does take a lot more damage. So maybe at some point in time, we'll play around with the Paragon board again, as we always do, and see if we can find a hybrid build between the frozen grenade and some kind of a poison combination, which I'm sure is doable. The good news is, now that I'm running Poison Rogue, now that I'm running Luciano's Poison Rogue, I am working on the Bane Glyph, and once that's maxed out, that's going to help a lot. So we'll utilize those two. There is another glyph as well. I believe it's Tracker, if I'm not mistaken, that actually increases poison damage as well. So once those two are maxed out, we're going to come back and we're going to experiment with this poison grenade, freeze grenade poison rogue. That's going to be a mouthful, but it's going to be interesting if it's doable. So there you go. You could see the boss getting down to the end here. This was 66. Went fairly well. I feel like I can definitely go higher as long as there are not a ton of ranged enemies. And I feel like this was comfortable. We went fairly good. And now it's time to finish leveling some of the glyphs. So at this point, I'm working on the vulnerability node right there. And I only need about 13 or 14 points. That's going to do it for this video. Hit the like and the subscribe. And for more BearCozy videos, check out the top right.